7:43. No, I'll wait till Mark gets his computer.
No, oh. So I'll ask because if people speak up because my hearing is terrible, so.
Okay.
I may ask you to repeat some things. Make sure I get it right.
Okay, so we're called to order. We have no guests, but we have a quorum. The third item on the agenda is a preview of previous minutes, and I think April is outstanding, which we don't have.
April got
Then May is. I know
May, there was no meeting.
June's outstanding, and now July is outstanding as well because I don't have them prepared, and I apologize for that. So if Mark is ready, we can jump into the, do you want to do the director's report first, or go straight to new business?
It's fine.
Okay, we'll go to the director's report and budget. Okay, does anyone need a copy of it?
Usually I bundle them together, but this time I didn't, so.
So is there any kind of template I should follow on the note taking or just?
Do you have an
If you want,
electronic
if
version?
you want to open up the agenda and work from that, that would be helpful.
That would you typically do? Yeah.
I mean, then your structure's all there.
You just
Yeah.
make notes on that. When we get to that.
Did anybody else want the agenda? I'll set. Okay. You'll be for this board in no time.
No, we're not.
Okay, so a couple of building things. Richard is pruning and mulching. Ron Keefe, the acting highway surveyor, stopped by and said, when's your contract up with Nature's Way anyway? And that was the first I'd heard of the fact that the town didn't outsource the mowing this year. They're just doing it themselves, but he seemed fine with the status quo with Nature's Way because they are very expensive.
The front of the library looks great, by the way.
It really bounced back. It was not doing well in that heat wave, but it bounced back well once we got some more rain. And I did, we kind of decided not to use the irrigation system this summer after that crazy bill we had last summer, but when everything was brown out there, I mean, I was calling them up saying, we've got to turn it on for a little while. And that, it didn't come to that, but, next year we might want to just say, all right, we have to do a minimal amount of water to keep everything green.
Did we do nothing this year?
We did nothing.
Okay.
Luckily, we got that 1 week of rain after the 2 weeks of heat.
Yeah, and it would be unusual to get 2 heat waves so close together, back to back.
Yeah. Moving on to staff, we hired a new technician. She comes from an academic library. She spent a few years at the Middlebury Library, but she's adapting just fine. And it turns out that Nicole Rogers is able to stay on as our Thursday page, so we modified the posting that I had done last month so that we're hiring 2 substitute pages. And on statistics, I want to mention that this July was our busiest month ever as far as circulation. Ever. It is only the 3rd time we've cracked 5,000, and the last time was last July, and there was one, I think, a few Augusts ago or something. So,
Did we post that on Facebook?
no, but that's a really good idea. I think I will. I posted it for the staff because they were waiting for that number to say, is it me or is it really busy around here?
That's terrific.
Yeah.
So Pam, what's the bump in summer usage? Is it kids or?
Summer reading, yeah, but also beach reading and vacations. But there's a lot of traffic with the kids' programs. 4 programs a week, essentially, maybe 5, 6. There's a lot going on. The other thing I want to break down a little bit is that our And you can see that the format of what I've included for statistics has changed after Janet asked me to kind of keep a running total instead of just month-to-month comparisons. But as far as the circulation, the overdrive downloads was 2.5% of our overall circulation. For the whole fiscal year of 2012, it was 2%. So that's growing as we knew.
What is it now? I'm sorry.
2.5.
It's 20%.
Yeah. And if you take into account the new Freegal service, it's 4%.
Wow.
Can that be right? I'm not sure that's right now that I say it, because can 75 numbers really, 75 circs really bump it? I'll have to look at that and make sure.
I think we found this agenda. You must have sent it to me.
I didn't.
Yeah, did you send it to me,
Janet?
Jen?
Janet.
Janet did.
Oh, Janet.
She sent it probably last Wednesday, maybe?
To forward to.
The agenda is
to you right now.
embedded in the actual email on each one.
Sorry, Jacob?
Just saying I can forward you the agenda right now.
Yeah, we don't want.
It's not like it's on Google Docs, it's not like you can,
Yeah.
it's not like you can add to it and edit it anyways. I think it was just for a guideline.
Yeah, just a Word doc. She sent a Word document as well.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, she did. It's also in the body of the email.
She might not have your correct email address, though, because she changed email
Agenda
address.
for tonight's meeting. Oh, there's a lot of- I'm sorry,
I'm
I'm sorry, I get so many emails, it's just mind-blowing. So I'm just gonna start another document.
That's fine.
So, yeah. Okay. There we go.
So ebooks are, you were saying ebooks are up?
Yes. As a percentage of circulation, they're up.
So, I'm sorry, so what do we want to capture? We want to capture a lot of details or just
No, I'll just-
abstractions?
Well, what I'm
Significant items or?
What I'm talking about is going to be a part of the record. This will get stored in the folder with the minutes, so,
So you could literally say, review.
Okay, good.
yeah, just the vote that accepts it is all that really needs to be recorded. Unless there's any discussion.
Okay.
And I apologize, it didn't occur to me to include an update on summer readings, so next month I'll make sure I have the wrap up.
No, that closes Wednesday, right?
Closes Wednesday.
And there's a big event Wednesday, is it at 10 or 10:30?
I think 10:30 is the ice cream social, and then Thursday night, there's something for the young adults. On Wednesday, the adults have until the end of day Wednesday to turn in their tickets for the big drawing. The kids and young adult, I think, have a little cushion to turn in their reading minutes. They have another week or so. And then the other programs upcoming in September, we have a local author, Connie Hambley, is going to discuss her novel on the 19th at 7 p.m. We're having an open house and brunch for seniors on September 24th, and the Council on Aging is supplying the transportation and the brunch.
What time is it?
I believe it's at 11:30. And of course, we're closed on Tuesday, so we'll have no interruptions. We haven't really planned the tour yet, but basically, we got feedback from the senior computer class and from our long-range planning meetings that some seniors find this new building intimidating, so that's why we're doing this outreach. And finally, Bob Snow, one of our selectmen, took a trip to the Middle East with a group that does, what does he do? It's leadership exercises for youth organizations, I think is what they do. So he'll be giving a lecture and slideshow about that on September 24th at 7. The ARIS report, I'm actually waiting on a piece of information from Nancy, John, if you could maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need a couple numbers from her regarding Friends stuff, and then we'll get the ARIS report turned in on time. The ARIS report is the big packet of statistics that go to the state as the first part of our state aid. And then finally, we received a $100 donation from the Raleigh Range.
Does anyone have any comments on the director's report? Can I have a motion to accept? So Michael, Josh.
As long as someone makes a motion, someone else seconds.
Do I need to get the name to the motion? Just.
Yeah, but I can you just email me when you get it. All those in favor? Of accepting it? Unanimous. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to the budget. Pam, is there anything in the budget that deserves comment or?
I have one comment on the library supply line, that it's down to 61%. And that's because, if you recall last time, I mentioned that the Board of Library Commissioners does not view Novelist Select, which we consider a database. It's Reader's Advisory information embedded in the catalog. The Board of Library Commissioners says it's a catalog enhancement, so it's a technology Reader's Advisory tool. It's not library materials. So we had to move that out of the library materials where I put it in the first place and down into library supplies, seeing the most, maybe I'll put it under. Computer hardware is actually computer hardware and software. Maybe I'll put it there.
And that's Novelist.
Novelist Select, it's called, and it's a new service this year. But it wasn't really put anywhere in the budget because we didn't realize it wouldn't be materials until after the fact.
And membership and tuition is all beginning of the year stuff. That's down to 60.
Oh, well, there's $300. There's 3 staff that join ALA,
And
so
that
one of
happens
them
all
has, yeah. And Hermaine's and mine membership won't be due for a while, but that one's Amy's.
Okay. And do I remember from the last meeting, the water is that the irrigation system?
No, it's the fire suppression system.
Okay.
We have a separate line that system is on, which engenders a $125 fee annually
Okay.
to have that second line into the building. So that's why
that's like a one-time.
that was a one-time thing, and then we'll pay them, $20 a month for the rest of the year, one hose.
Okay.
The water bills have gone up a lot, yeah, the rates are out of control, which is why we didn't water the lawn this year, because we turned it on last year, and it was on for, a few weeks before we got the $600 bill, and then it was like, wait, stop, turn it off.
Does anyone have any comments or questions on the budget? Can I have a motion to accept?
I motion to accept the budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And now Pam wanted to jump down to new business to make sure that we cover that before, if anyone needs to leave early. So we're going to talk about the bid for the painting of the building.
Okay.
And John accompanied me to the meeting with Deb Egan and During Globe, where we learned a lot about public procurement and construction. So the 15-page specification, it comes down to, you want to make sure that all your bids are apples and apples. So every vendor is bidding on, I will do A, B, C, X, Y, Z in that order, and that way you know that your bids are fair and competitive. So we specify what should be in that bid, which is the final 2 pages that we just need to amend possibly or approve, and then it will be released by the selectmen. And so I guess some of the questions were, do we want to include the fence? Do we want to include the sheds? And another thing that just might have sort of PR consequences, political consequences, is the hydrangeas that are climbing up the pergola. You know, it's ruining the columns as it climbs up, but that was the intention of the building committee when they planted them there, was that they would eventually climb up and grow over the pergola. So if we allow that to happen, then there's no more painting of the columns or the pergola.
And eventually, no more columns or pergola.
Eventually.
In our lifetimes?
It's eating the paint. I don't know if you've ever looked where they're attached. It's actually pulling the paint
It's-
off.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
quite destructive.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's as strong as it is.
So it's kind of up to you guys to decide where to move forward on that, whether we cut them back, let them grow, leave them
I
as
make
they
a
are.
motion, we cut them and let them regrow and see what happens next time.
I second the motion. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, so that's good. Does anybody see anything in this list of items, the order that they're done in, anything that else should be in the list or anything that should not be in the list? Doreen had highlighted brush versus spray paint. Anybody have an opinion about that? I mean, none of us are painters, we don't know.
Hey, as long as let's get what it's done, and it doesn't chip in a week.
I mean, a lot of contractors do use spraying and stuff.
And I'm thinking it would be a lot faster.
Yeah, we,
Was that Deb's
They,
recommendation, or is that
What-
appeared in other?
the way they came up with this list is they looked at the 3 bids that we originally got, thinking it was that simple. And they also looked at a couple of other public documents where I think they looked at a couple that schools had released a similar, scope of project bids. And they looked at what they said in theirs.
I mean, it's not spray paint, it's, it's a pneumatic
Yeah.
paint gun,
yeah.
Even the place across the street here, that development was all painted with.
With spray.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
I say it doesn't really matter. No real preference.
Well, would we need to specify that? I guess not, we could just say you need paint.
I think if it's non-specified, then they use whatever method they typically use. And the other question, and I do have, Richard went up into the attic and looked at, Richard went up in the attic and looked at the paint that was left over from when the building was originally painted. And it's not, in fact, Benjamin Moore, it is Duron Weather Shield. This is a double-sided document. It is, the front side is the bid that went out, the bid that was, when the building was first built. This was the approved bid, what the company proposed to do. And then on the back side is the information that Richard found from the cans in the attic. So another question, no, we can't specify that they have to use either Benjamin Moore or Duron Weather Shield. We have to put or equivalent in there. So I don't know if anyone has strong feelings about either one.
Is
I
there
guess-
a color on this?
I wondered if these numbers, this 3, 4 dash,
Okay.
I looked on the internet and I couldn't really tell. So I think somewhere in here specify, does somewhere say, color would be matched? I'm not sure. maintaining the present color scheme in D1.
Were these specifically, well, the spec doesn't, no, these specifically say they're weather shield paint, which I think speaks more to what the paint does rather than who makes the paint. So Benjamin Moore is probably less important than one that's, has some sort of weather shield protecting quality to it.
And another question we had was it paint or was it stain? Clearly, these are both paint. So actually, in the first, in D, contractors shall comply with paint/stain manufacturer's written instructions. I mean, I guess we want to specify paint. Although D1 says apply solid stain.
So, I'm sorry, so this Durham weather shield exterior acrylic flat, that's what was put on there before? And so I guess it's not clear to me if that's a paint or a stain.
I think they're both paint in the parens after
It
lowercase
says
a and b.
exterior wood trim gloss paint. Right?
Yeah.
And it's a flat paint finish.
Exterior wood's a flat paint finish. Okay.
The other thing that will be in these terms and conditions, there's going to be a mandatory pre-bid meeting. You can do this one of two ways. You can say, in the specs, you can say, building may be viewed, and that gives the vendors a chance to come and ask questions. But it's easier to just say there's a mandatory pre-bid meeting, and that way all the vendors come at once. Myself, probably John, and probably Deb Egan, walk around and say this, that, and that way everybody understands, again, the exact scope of the project.
And do they generally get good attendance for those meetings? 'Cause it took us a lot just to get through it.
Well, what John surmised was that the smaller shops, and he said a lot of them didn't call him back. Maybe they were aware that, oh, it's a government project, I don't even want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're going to get bigger. And the other thing that Deb pointed out with this sort of requirements on public projects is that whatever company accepts this bid puts a lot of capital into it before they get any kind, like they can't ask for a deposit, they're not getting paid until the project is completed to satisfaction. So smaller companies might not be able to have that outlay up front and you only get paid at the end. In fact, the one that we liked of our bids requested a deposit, as most small shops will.
Right. Have they already gone through this process for the annex?
I don't know. But, she talked about the window replacement, the refurbishment of the roof that they did over here.
Yeah.
What else did she mention?
I was
Well,
just
just
trying to
just
decide if we
standard,
like lump
because
it
it's
all
a
in
town,
together.
even though we're gonna use our money, it's still a town project.
Right.
No, I get that. I was just thinking it might be better, economies of scale if we did them at the same time.
And I don't know if we can, I know that they're using community preservation funds to paint the annex, so I'm not sure if that has that might have other
Yes, it might need
stipulations
to do with a certain.
along with it, yeah.
They're doing more than paint,
I think they are,
Yeah,
I think it's a
they're
restoration.
gutters and
Yeah.
siding and stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
what's it gonna be used for when it's done?
I think they'll have the same offices that are inside it now. It'll just look a lot nicer.
So you need us to decide if we want to specify for paint, and if we want to include the fence, and we've already decided to include the columns.
Yes. And as it's laid out here under E, you know, it could be an add-on. It could be that they give us a price for the building and we'll throw in this and that for this much more.
If we do include the fence, we would need to include cleaning it, because it was actually only painted 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a line
Yeah.
where it says the
C.
same conditions as,
C, repairing exterior, all of those things would apply.
And that would include the fence. That they would need to scrape and clean the
Mhm.
fence, okay. Remove mildew, scrubbing, okay.
Yeah, CE says with the same preparation and painting specifications as listed above.
Okay. And the sheds, we need to decide if we want to include the sheds. The sheds must be in pretty good shape, John, you painted those recently, didn't you?
I painted the big shed. The little shed, I just used whatever leftover paint I had on, so no, it wasn't
Yeah,
completely,
this-
it wasn't completely painted. The little shed.
The little shed is due. The big
Okay.
shed is fine.
Okay.
And I can paint the little shed.
With the 2 gallons that they leave behind.
Yeah.
You know, we could ask the Boy Scouts too if they want to maintain it, because they built it for us. All that's in the little shed is the recycling we save up for them. They might, you know, want the community service, I don't know.
Worth a try.
Should we specify here that if they don't want to, if they don't have time to do that we should throw it into the,
I mean, we
In
can
a
always,
process.
we can always have it bid as alternates and then include it or not include it. That's kind of what stands here. We can
okay,
just take out pergola and add sheds.
because we definitely want the pergola
Pergola and columns.
and columns. And then in the future, in the near future, we can decide if maybe we want to put up like a trellis or something to try to keep it
Oh,
away from the,
yes.
so it'll still climb, but
Yeah.
keep it away from the column.
That's what the, what are the ones with the purple flowers? Is it clematis?
Yeah, I think so.
Those are on trellises.
Yes, yeah, those are on trellises. But they don't climb as high either.
No.
What do you guys think about the specifying paint?
The other thing that Dory made a note of is section 7 on page 15 under warranties. She just kind of threw that in. She didn't know if it was reasonable to ask for a warranty of 10 years. I mean, I guess you'd have to look at the paint can for that. I don't really know. Anybody painted a house recently?
Can't say I have.
So I'm not worried, I'm concerned about, 10 years down the road, but
Right.
in this case, yeah.
10 years might be,
I think that's
A lot.
excessive.
because I mean, this paint job isn't 10 years old,
No.
or it's just 10 years old. So that might be, that might be a lot, maybe 5,
Okay.
because we want some warranty on the workmanship to make sure that
Right.
they're doing their work properly.
Right. But what's a reasonable expectation of the
Right.
lifespan of paint? Okay, so the questions still outstanding are paint versus stain, Benjamin Moore versus Doron. We decided the brush doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Because if they use like a haircut, they're gonna have to use a brush to get like the nooks and crannies anyway,
Mhm.
To do the trim and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, they're gonna use a brush.
As long as it's professional quality, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'd say no to spray on, thing to put on it, so it's all dripping and looks like it's sprayed on, but if they're professional
Right.
painters, I would assume that, I mean, as for whether it should be stain or paint, I think, again, they're the ones qualified to tell us whether or not it's
I want
10 years in February. The building opened 10 years. It's coming February.
There's your warranty right there.
Yeah.
But the primer is staying,
What's the siding is wood as well? What is it?
Yes, yeah, and the wood at the building, at the point of the building, the wood siding was primed off-site, like when it was at the lumberyard.
Yeah.
It was delivered here pre-primed.
I mean, my only comment is, I'm not painting authority or anything like that, but the stain, I know that the stains tend to, I think, tend not to peel as much,
I think it's like they won't ship as
and they don't chip as much.
but I think they're also usually oil-based. They use an oil-based primer, they use, their primer here is a, isn't this thing, oh, I thought I saw a stain, but they're gonna be using acrylics, right?
Can you stain on top of
There's
it?
there's acrylic, I think you can get acrylic stains, I don't know, it would seem to me we'd want to err on the side of, or at least consider a stain, because I think, again, it would have less likelihood of possibly peeling and chipping of paints. They peel and flake off.
We can
I don't know.
certainly, we can certainly leave it as paint/stain.
Yeah, which one do we prefer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's do that.
We stained the deck in my backyard and that fades. Doesn't chip or peel, but fades.
And if it does, you're right, it does
Yeah,
fade.
so like if
That's
the
the
side of
down-
this building that gets more sun, like that'll be a
That's the downside.
eggshell white, and the other three just might be regular
Oh,
white.
yeah, that's the downside. Well, I don't know.
Let's want to make it 8 years warranty then, and then if we can extend whatever, which one lasts 8 years.
I guess if there's paint already on there, maybe they have to put paint over that.
That's what I'm wondering, a stain wouldn't,
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
they probably do,
yeah.
They're gonna take that off like with a
unless they take it all off.
scraper with.
They're just
No,
gonna
it
take
was-
off
yeah.
what's loose.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry? They're not, they won't take it all off, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back to,
So
bare
if you're
wood.
stuck with paint, so maybe that's the answer. I mean,
Okay.
what do you guys think? Because, yeah, you don't typically put stain on over paint.
Yeah.
Maybe we're stuck with paint.
I liked the suggestion of saying this weather shield paint or equivalent.
I like that too.
Because,
Okay.
I mean, I think the thing that's most important is that it's something that's built to, last and.
Yeah.
And I did, when I was Googling to try and see if these numbers specify the colors, I did see a lot of good recommendations for the Duron weather shields.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob Wheeler, as a matter of fact, I just got Google that.
Yeah, and I guess it's not available everywhere, but on the East Coast, yeah, the contractor sites and I were like, use it if you can get it. All right,
So what did we decide to change the warranty to? I mean, do we
Well,
like 8 or?
I'm just saying, we'll try to stretch out the warranty as long as possible, use the best paint you can, because we can come back. But if,
Can you Google to see what the warranty on our weather shield paint is? And we want to include the shed and the fence as alternatives, but definitely do the columns.
yes.
Was there anything else that I'm forgetting that we talked about?
So we're not going to ask them to do the fence? For
They'll,
sure.
they'll bid it, not definitely. Well, what do you think? It must need to be
I
at
mean,
least
it's,
clean.
yeah, those pine trees
Big
are,
short
they
column.
make a mess. It's very mildewy and dirty.
So do we want to include it?
So, I
Do you think we should include it?
Yeah, why wouldn't we include it? Just,
Might as well.
Okay. Okay, so we're including the fence, the pergola, and the columns, and we decided not the sheds, so there aren't really any alternates. Unless you want to keep the sheds as alternates.
Did you say do the shed as an alternate? That way they're bidding it just in case the Boy Scouts don't have the resources to do it.
Okay.
And Durham Weather Shield or equivalent. We don't care if they use brush versus spray. And we're just looking to see if we can get a warranty on the campaign.
Mhm.
Are you able to find anything, Josh? No? So do we want to just stick with 5 years?
Well, originally it was 10, right? But we, actually, the last bid, we didn't, it wasn't warranty the last.
Right, no, yeah, Deb threw in 10, and then we were thinking maybe 5 makes more sense. And then
Was any
you
painter
said,
guaranteed for 10?
that's-
It seems like
I
a
think
really
10
high
years,
number.
I think 10 years is really.
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't
Yeah.
ask for it, but it just seems like a really high number, I don't know.
Yeah, especially in New England with our winters.
Exactly.
We could try, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have nobody signed up for that. Especially with the paint.
What if we say for a period of at least 5 years? How does this work, Pam and John? Are we obligated to take the lowest bid as long as they meet these
No,
specifications?
we can, like, do some due diligence and find out what the other people thought about that and say, you know what? People liked him, but these people hired, but the people we talked really like these people, so why don't we go for that? So we don't have to go with a low bid, is
So
my
it's not-
understanding from.
And I asked if we need to get references, and she said, you can't just accept references because they'll only give you the good ones. She said they go in and they search and they look at every contract they've won in the last 5 years, and they call.
Deb's office does that.
Deb's office does that.
So as long as we can document why we liked a higher bid over a lower bid, we can accept it. So if we write warranty for a period of at least 5 years, and someone comes in with a warranty of 7, then
Mhm.
that's gonna give them a leg up. Okay.
And the bids that they go, I mean, the references, they go back to usually say like-size projects. So you don't have to do every paint job they ever did,
Right.
but what this size project.
And I don't think it's on either of these 2 pages that we're reviewing, but somewhere in this document, it specifies that they must have been in business 5 years, they must have completed at least 3 similar sized projects.
Okay.
Do we know what the size of the winning bid was in 2003?
No, I didn't find it in the budget anywhere. Which is weird, right? It must have been like hidden under some other subcontract, but there was nothing in the budget that specified painting.
Okay. Is there anything else, Pam, did you get all the answers to your questions?
I think that's everything that I mean, again, unless you see anything in the process that seems unusual or needs to be changed.
Does anyone have any other additional comments or changes they'd like to see?
I don't.
John, are you comfortable with it? Is anyone who's involved?
Yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then, can I have a motion to approve the specifications on painting and building, amended to change the warranty to at least 5 years, to remove the requirement to use a brush and not to spray, to use Duron Weather Shield paint or equivalent, to include the fence, columns, and pergola with the alternative of the smaller shed in the back. That's it, right?
We're good with this brush versus, not that but labor, this brush versus spray. It doesn't matter, huh?
I don't know, I really don't know enough about. I mean, I know I've seen a lot of contractors using the spray. You know, it's just when doing large areas, very rarely do I, usually see them doing touch it with the,
Yeah, okay.
but I don't know.
I just don't know. Everything I was painted was with a brush.
Right. Well, the spray guns are so expensive, I mean,
Yeah.
most people don't have a professional
I just
quality.
never felt like the spray was like, I don't know, it just seems like you brush it on, you get better adherence, but,
I don't know.
I think
And
it's been.
Josh, you said the ones across the street, they
Yeah.
did.
Which ones are
I
that?
think the development, I think that was the areas that was sprayed on.
Okay.
I can find out. How about, I have a couple of painting friends, and I can ask, they'll just find out what is standard and, you know, if there is a drawback to having it sprayed on or brushed on. I can also ask about the warranties, find out if.
I don't know, what do you guys think? Am I making a mountain
I'll
out of
ask
a molehill?
No, I don't think, I think it's a
I
good
think-
point,
I
it's a
think
good
it is
point,
a
I
good
don't
point.
know enough to say,
Yeah.
you know.
Painting to me is, it's all about the tech, I mean, you need a good quality paint, but it's all about how you do it. Do it on a dry day with the wood dry, you know, good conditions and wood, and, you know, if you do it, you can put the best paint down on a humid, hot summer day and it's just gonna, you pretty much waste, you know, you're not gonna get a good quality adherence. And I just don't know spray versus brush, if it means, matters at all. I just don't know, maybe just Google it and find out or something.
Do we want to leave that up to the painter as well? That
Well,
they
yeah,
can
well-
use whatever method they
Yeah.
think will give us the best
The best
job?
warranty.
Or
Yeah.
indicate the methods to be used, and
Yeah.
then we can say, oh, this guy's gonna brush it, this guy's gonna spray it, we like the idea of brush better, and that could be our.
Right, and
Yeah.
it gives us time to talk to them and find out why one, not the
I
other.
don't see what matters.
My fear is that if we leave and do more research to vote on this in September, now we're not posting till November, and we
Right.
wanted this done by,
I mean, I think
by
an
the
al-
375th.
an alternative is to sort of approve it with an open-ended question, like, you know, should Justice Research find out that there is a strong advantage to brushing, that it will be left in.
Okay, and Deb may have already done this research on previous jobs, and that may be why she put that sentence in there. Okay, then do I have a motion for everything that we had said previously with the brush versus spray to be determined within the next few weeks?
So moved.
I'm sorry.
So moved.
I
So,
can, I'll just take it from what.
Just so I'm clear, so we're saying that we're not approving the draft as amended, we're gonna table it until we determine whether the brushing versus the spraying.
We're going to, what I just said, and Josh just moved, was that we would approve the edited,
Jake?
I'm sorry, Jake. Sorry, we're all the same initials, we're all J or M. It's really difficult to take minutes. So the motion that Jake just made was to approve the amended draft with the exception of determining whether or not we want to specify painting versus spray. So that's the only open issue.
okay.
Okay, why don't we just request that the bidders specify
Which
what
they're gonna use.
methods they will be using, and we can, when we go over bids, we can review it at that point and say, because if they're professional painters, they know if
Which
a
is better.
spray is cheap and if a brush is, so if they say, let's specify that they're going to be spraying it on, and we find that the spraying is in fact not a good quality, we will just discard that bid. But that way we can move forward on the.
And that's what John said, instead of this, to have a sentence that says that their bid must state the method that they would put the paint. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right, so should we?
I think that too, when we do that walk around with the people who are bidding and then go through it, that would be,
Yeah.
a point.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the edited bid specifications to change the warranty to 5 years to, at least 5 years, to require the vendor to state the method that they'll use to apply the paint, to use Duran Weather Shield paint or equivalent, to include the fence and columns and pergola, with an alternative of the small shed in the back. And do you still move?
I'm kind of lost at this point.
Okay.
I think that we're being a little absurd at the level which we're assessing over that.
It's gonna be a big bid, then. It's gonna be, I don't know,
Yeah.
get into dollars, but it's gonna be expensive
A
for.
lot more than we originally thought, I think.
Do you think it's absurd to go through this whole process?
No, I think we're belaboring this. I mean, I think the idea of having them specify the method is kind of, because we don't know, we're not gonna figure out whether there's a real difference between brushing and spraying. So, and we wanna move this thing, right? We don't wanna wait until the next meeting.
Right.
So I think that idea is, that's the shortcut, and it gives us a way to kind of do our research on the back end, while at the same time, moving this forward.
It'll be like apples to apples, it's gonna be preference.
Or if it's apples to oranges, we'll see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you like the idea of having them state the method that they're gonna use?
Right, as opposed to us trying to figure out.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, is that what I had said?
Yes.
I think, yes. I think
I'm
maybe
gonna
we
say
said it
yes.
differently, but we mean the same thing.
Okay,
I believe it was.
okay, so do we have that motion?
So I'll repeat, yes. So
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the second piece of new business that Pam had was a table for the self-check machine.
And I think we should go over there to look at it. Are you able to come with us? You're Nate, right?
Nathan, yeah.
Are you able to come with us where you're going to go to another part of the building?
Aye.
Yep. Okay. We just need to look at,
We wanted you to do some parties and some weddings.
I know I would have made copies of the everything. Oh, I guess it's in the top.
It was in the library.
Have we actually gone ahead and done the table yet?
No, but we're going to go and look at where we're going to put it.
Okay. Now, this is the table for the temporary.
Well, whichever self-check machine we buy needs to sit on a table. They're both tabletop models. We didn't really discuss the kiosk models, and the base camp people don't really want to give us, build a kiosk for us when it's temporary. So we need a table. I went ahead and contacted the people who built all this furniture because we wanted to match, I assume.
So we're gonna,
From the initial table. But we'll see.
Is there $2,000 table in our free?
I say. Yeah, looks sturdy enough, good.
Unless we drop the scale and
Yeah, that's.
We'll get locked out. Thank you.
No, you're not.
Thank you.
You.
I'll leave one open. Okay.
So do we need an narrator?
I think so. I'm tempted to, but it's gonna be edited out on TV, so.
Okay, so at our last staff meeting, we talked about where would be the best place to put a self-check machine. Anna, who works at Newburyport where they have them, was adamant that it needs to be near the circulation desk. She said, you're going to be jumping up and helping people all the time. So our original thought of putting it in the children's room is less ideal. We thought it would be good to have it in the children's room because that is staffed less, but that's not really the case anymore now that we've expanded staff. So they unanimously did not want it in the children's room. So we looked at this space here, which would take a lot of wiring to get the network here. We looked at, and actually the staff decided they wanted it right here. There's power and a port. It just needs to go through this wall, and I would actually kind of go through this wall, and that would be fine. But then after talking to the designer, so basically it'll be kind of like this. It'll have, you know, this shelf end and this same laminate, but it will be built to our specifications. Unfortunately, what we decided is that this is too narrow.
Yep.
And we talked about putting it here, we talked about building something that went around the corner, and then the vendor was looking at the pictures I sent and said, what about this wall? Which we hadn't talked about because there's already something here. But we think now that this is the best place to put it. So we could do one of three things. We could take out this unit, or we could take out the middle unit, or we could take out this end unit and put a table in.
How far would that come up from the wall?
It would have to be, I think it was 30, let me get the measuring tape. I believe it would be 30 inches deep.
Yeah.
The specs from Tucker is 30 inches deep
30 inches deep.
and 32 inches high. So how high is that?
And it would be a little higher. We kind of compared to this. This is 33. We were thinking more like 36. So a
Why does it
little.
have to be that high?
You want it to be comfortable for standing adults, wheelchair adults, and children, and that's just kind of the in-between.
What's the base on the scanner though? Does the scanner raise itself up? I mean,
An inch or two. Yeah.
Kim, is there ADA regulation on how high this is?
Yeah, there's a minimum and maximum.
So, all right, so the 36
Yep.
accommodates that.
Yep, the 36 is fine. And there's also a regulation on how, on like clearance underneath, so you can, you know, roll up to it.
You said 30?
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
So the question, well, and they were pushing for a big one. I don't know why they came back with 72 inches
Who they?
wide, Tucker. You know, 44 is fine, or 42. You know, if we took out one bank of shelves and went a little over.
I'm sorry, I'm probably behind.
Well,
on
I'm
things.
wondering, yeah, I gotta ask that question.
What,
So then you wouldn't want it on this side because the fence?
Definitely not, because the fence comes down
Yeah.
and this area is unsupervised.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to, while we're ruling this up, so okay.
Yeah.
One giant step this way. Okay.
Unfortunately,
so-
yeah.
It's not that, like, it's about like,
Yeah, if you're sitting there.
it's big, right? You know, it's gonna be just a couple plugs coming out of the power, right?
It's like 13
How heavy is it?
by 20, 37 pounds.
That's like, you could put it there during the day and just slide it off and stick it underneath, and then the gate goes down during the night.
But if it's 37 pounds, I don't think all of our staff could do that.
No.
Plus, the more we move it, probably the more likely we are to break it.
something or.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother you that something would be sticking out that far here in this, I mean, I know there's a lot of
There's
space.
a lot of space here
Yeah.
right now. I
And
don't,
you picked this as the optimum because just access and you didn't want it in that area where it's supposed to be more quiet and stuff like that.
Well, I would think if we put it in there, are we inviting children to go into that side and maybe be disruptive?
it's
Yeah.
possible.
How wide does it need to be? Did you say?
The unit is 13, and then you need, you know, enough space to put your book down beside it, because you'll probably have a pile. Yeah, so then there's a 6-inch printer next to it, and you want room, you know, to have probably a pile of books on each side as you
Yeah.
go from one to the other.
So would it fit on this wall but not in front of the window? Because my concern would be if it's too high, would it block that window?
And the other side of that is the kids would see it through the window, although it wouldn't look that exciting from behind. I think it's 21 inches tall with the monitor. And there is, underneath, there's a carrel on the other side of this glass. So there's power and a port right there. It's just got to be moved from one wall to the other wall.
And you didn't like this spot over here? You were looking at this as an option too?
And this, well,
Were you gonna take, just give it?
that was kind of where we were going. We were going with a custom design, maybe take this end unit out and extend this counter around.
Keep
And-
that computer there?
Yeah. Yeah, that was another idea we talked about. I say we, I mean,
You just gotta move it.
me and the people.
Yeah.
You just
But that's-
gotta move the cursor over and you got it. Where if you got it around the corner, I'm gonna have to come up and around
Yeah.
every time. But if I see what they're doing wrong, so
Yeah.
I think you wanna have a visual from this spot here, because this is where everyone sits
Yeah,
to do it. So if they're around there, I'm having a problem with this. This person's gonna come out, go over there and say, oh yeah, you just need to move the
Yeah.
cursor.
right.
That makes a lot of sense, and you don't disrupt everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, Anna, who works in Newburyport where they have them, was adamant that it had to be close by. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
she got agitated.
Well, it makes sense because
It was resident, you
if
gotta
you're not
go,
used
huh?
to it,
Yeah.
there's a learning curve and
No?
someone's always gonna have to go and show someone
That's,
what to do.
That's what
that's
she
your data,
said,
that's your
yeah.
data point right there.
Yeah,
Don't argue with that.
she
So, yeah,
said
just
you will
put it
be
in
held
here
in
somewhere.
constantly. So the question is, now if we did it in the center, like I was kind of imagining this could just kind of whoosh, come out and go back.
Yeah,
But no, they would still have to build a desk. I mean, if it's in the center with a shelf on either side, that's kind of nice. It would cost a little more only because they'd have to kind of move the current shelves and re-anchor them to the walls. I mean, $200 more is what he said.
That's what I think.
what about over there?
That's not secure
Oh,
because this, when
Oh,
the staff
okay.
goes
I got it.
home, yeah,
I got it,
yeah, you leave people here. You
yeah,
don't want it on the side of that.
got it.
And Pam, either unit will fit on this table?
Yes. I will go back and look at the specs, but yes. The other one has a much smaller footprint, I think.
Does it?
I think
Okay.
so, yeah. Yeah, like I said, we kind of need the table anyway.
Yeah.
If we end up going with the base scan, our capital request covers it, no problem. If we
Right.
go, but we already knew if we go back to 3M, we're over our budget.
Right.
What if we go with neither, then we built a table that's not gonna hold a self-check machine?
But I think we are going to go with one of them.
We're going with,
Well, like,
we're
what
getting a
if-
self-check machine.
What if this one that we get for the 90 days, we don't end up liking it that much and we're just like, you know what, I don't even wanna go with 3M? And just decide to just opt out of everything.
I
I don't
think
think
we're
that's
gonna get
gonna
one.
Alright.
You and I can arm wrestle, but I don't think that's-
I mean, eventually, yeah,
The-
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
and the
way or
money,
the
the
other.
money's been allocated, it was voted at town meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, it's just which one.
right.
And on a Wednesday, there really is, I mean, the line will hit that wall or go around the corner.
And yeah,
And there'll
that's,
be
that's,
people waiting in the.
that's a good point. That's maybe an argument for using.
That's why I think
The
over here,
left,
the two lines could meet.
Because,
Over here,
then there's less congestion,
and over here.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that idea. Instead of having it in front of the window.
Mhm.
What are you thinking, John?
Well, just that the other side has something already there.
I know. I kind of, suggested that spot and the staff was really not into it. Or even just,
Well, we could, I mean, you could remove
this
the
is a-
window.
This is a horseshoe
save-
desk, like
'cause
either
that way-
end.
But there's this kid's room, so you probably would want to keep it, that you can close it off.
Yeah, Originally, I thought it was gonna be on that desk.
That's kind of the original plan, yeah.
On which desk, that one?
On the
children's
horseshoe-shaped
desk.
children's desk.
Oh,
Just one end of the horseshoe.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that the right shape? Am I using that word correctly?
Usually rainbow.
How wide is
but that's
this?
not gonna be zero, closer to the,
They want it closer to the circulation desk, yeah.
Actually, it's in there.
Can't argue with that.
Scanner, Pam said the scanner
The
is
kids are probably gonna use it the most
Right,
for that occasional person,
yeah.
which is not gonna be an occasion, it's gonna be often.
3 feet.
We looked at that spot, Josh, and as I said, the wiring gets much more complicated. Now we're talking about cables through the ceiling.
You've got a power plug.
We've got power, but we need the network. We need a data port. Yeah.
So what you want to solve tonight is the table that we're going to buy, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow we can figure out where we'll put the table. But the big issue tonight is what kind of table are we going to get?
Right. So as you saw the drawing, it's gonna have this end, this laminate. It'll be custom built to our specifications, and we'll get a more specific drawing once we've decided on the space. And turnaround, he said, is a 10 to 12 weeks. So we're probably gonna have the thing on a card table for a little while. I mean, we have a couple of tables we can move around, but do you have enough light out here?
Amazing.
So, Pam, your wish would be for us to approve. What do we need to approve if they're gonna bring back, and if they're gonna send us another sketch?
Well, what I gathered from speaking with them on the phone is that, you know, the $1,900 is for a 72-inch. He said, you know, a 48 inch is really only going to knock a couple $100 off, because again, it's still all custom made.
Yeah.
You're saving a little bit of
It's
materials,
material, but not.
right. So he thought about 1850, or
For 48 inch?
I think that's what he said. Is that about $100 less?
It's about 100,
Yeah.
not even. So do you need us to approve the price, or just say, yes, get another sketch?
Well, we want a table, right? We want it to match our existing furniture, right?
Right.
So,
So the only alternative would be to try to find another company who could exactly match our furniture.
and I don't know why you would do that one.
Does anyone have an opinion on that, or on this, Josh, you were concerned about the cost of this?
Well, yeah, it's expensive for a table. I mean, but yeah, it's business construction. I mean, that's what they cost. I understand it, but you know, I'm just trying to think. Well, what can we do to make it a little bit less expensive? You know, something smaller, something less.
Right.
Because it is just a table. It doesn't need to be
Right.
a piece of art. But yes,
Right.
it should go with what we're looking at. You know, but it's meant to just hold something. It's not.
Yeah,
Um,
but imagine, you know, when you walk in the library, what you see, you
Yeah.
don't want to see
Right.
So,
something that's not in place. That would be very jarring to have it not matched, because you can see all the way down there to the shape is echoed
Right.
throughout.
Right.
But you know, like as for if we need a 72-inch table, I don't think we.
I don't think so either. I think, you know, the 44 or whatever we have here, to this, go, you can go like maybe 2 inches more, John, not
Yeah.
quite to the opening, but
Yeah.
yeah, let's go 42.
We just have that.
I have to say, for $100 more, why not get the bigger table, and then if you,
Well, then you're gonna lose 2 banks. I know it's empty, but actually, this is our for sale books, this is our staff picks, and this is our book club books, so now we have to find room for 2 of those things.
yeah, but you might decide that this is the greatest thing ever, this self-service thing, and it's always crowded, we should get another machine.
In which case, we probably would go in a children's
Okay,
room.
that's my only kind of thing, is like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we fit 2 machines on the same table if they did the larger table?
If it was 72, yeah.
But we
I
could
would
maybe fit 2, you said they're only 13 inches wide, so we could maybe fit 2 of them. It would be
Yeah,
squished,
yeah.
but
And the 72, that came from them. That, they just looked at the last one we built for another library and those specs. That's where the 72
So
came
what
from.
you're
the
proposing
drawing.
is to keep some of this and have this table come in and somehow merge it with, so what about just replacing this whole thing?
We could do that.
I mean, is it that much more money? And you have, put your shelves in there the way you want them, and you have the, you know, the proper counter space for the unit?
Well,
I mean, this to me is no, I mean, it looks okay, but.
well, okay, so we did kind of
It's
take,
It's functional, right?
we
It's fun-
considered getting rid of it altogether, putting it somewhere else in the building. There's really nowhere else to put it. So, I mean, to junk it doesn't seem really cost effective either. Or if you can salvage some of it, if you can salvage 2/3 of it to still
Yeah, okay.
show off your book club books and your for sale
Doesn't make it
books.
look nice, and now they have to merge, what do they have to cut this, right?
Yeah, they would take it out, they would cut it,
And who's doing this?
Tucker.
So they would come right here to install.
Yep.
And would this one be attached to the wall?
I'm not sure. I think shelving has to be. I think that's a code thing.
Okay, even if it's a slab?
Yeah.
$2,000. So,
At least they can do a screw to the
Hmm?
wall. At least they can do a screw to the wall for $2,000.
We
right now,
We
it's the-
could
it's
move
the
this
whole thing.
to the other side,
Yeah.
but not put it on anything that's library. We could just, this is the, if you wanna give us $1 for a used book kind of thing, leave your dollar.
Yep, and actually
Or leave it in
the
the
literature
Dropbox.
holder and whatever, you know, believe me, we could have a literature holder twice as big as that. So, yeah, that's okay. John has a new idea. Take the whole
I
3
like that idea.
shelving unit out, move it down there, and put a table here.
Put exactly what you want, yeah.
This getting a little bit much utility out of it.
We still need to find another home for book club books, staff picks, okay, so the sale books would go with, and we just trust the honor system when we're not here.
Yeah.
And if they have to steal a book, they need it more than we need their dollar.
But the other staff picks, et cetera, they can't be unsecure.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying not the book club, I'm talking about like the ones that are
The
donated
library
for
books, you know,
the $2 book sale ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we can't just have the whole thing over there.
that's what John's suggesting,
Yeah,
the
move
whole thing over
Yeah,
there.
Just the
yeah,
items we
all
can't
those
leave
books
there.
don't- No, all these,
And we could certainly fill it up with Friends book sale books. You know, have you ever gone in the Byfield library? There's a wall, it's like as big as this whole wall is all filled with for sale books.
So if we do that, would we put the 72-inch table there? Or are now we talking about something?
Well, now you probably want something centered under the window, which is 60. So maybe it would be, what would be aesthetically pleasing? A little bigger than the window, a little smaller than the window, exactly
Bigger
the
than
size
the
of the window? Bigger?
no.
Tell
Can
me
they
I'm
do
not-
something? Make
Yeah,
it-
but that's the
make
thing,
it
if
something
72 is
space.
gonna be
Right?
6
No,
inches
I
on
mean-
either
Yeah,
side.
because we'll kick ourselves
Well, you're
later.
gonna take
Yeah.
this, I mean, people, you know, some.
Yeah, I think
it's a big,
That's
make
72.
a nice, something that looks good and fits in there.
Yeah, I don't think that'll look out of place having it
I don't think
centered.
so.
The
Okay.
table
And then it
being
would
this.
give us here, if we wanted to put, you know, something like the magazine
Yeah,
holder or a bulletin board, or it gives
Mhm.
us floor to ceiling
Some
space
wall
here.
space there, yeah.
Now it's back in front, now it'll be centered in front of the window again as opposed to the side of the window.
We
Is
could
that-
put it on
is
one
that
end,
wrong,
or,
Is that bad?
I don't know.
And it would actually go down and just see, so this is at the window here, and you're not at the wall there, right?
No, 72 is right there.
Yeah, so if you wanted
So
to,
you could put the larger table here and save that unit of shelving. For that matter, once they cut the countertop, you could buy a second end panel and put the 2 banks down there. He didn't break down in quote how much is for the end panels. Did you see what I'm saying?
But that would be an end panel,
Just like
for
a small one
yeah.
as opposed to a big one, yeah. And that might be something to keep in mind for the future, you know?
So does it sound like we're liking the 72-inch table now?
That's my vote.
I always like the 72.
That's
You
my
always
vote.
do.
But just for $100, I mean, when you get something custom, it's like just like anything. Like, why wouldn't you get? You know what I mean? Like,
Because
it's
it
5
didn't
inch.
fit in our
I know,
space
but
until
like the
5
thing,
minutes ago.
I know. But now you're doing, you know, it's $100 more. But if you do it by the inch, it's costing, you know, $2.20 an inch. Why not?
So what would you do with the bench? Like move it over
I don't
to
think
the
you need to
opposite
move the.
side?
I don't think you need to move the bench.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll fit right there. So here,
Let's see how long it is total.
And we don't need to decide that tonight,
That's true.
like 10 minutes before Mark.
111. Excuse us?
so that's.
Yep. Yep, it fits.
Huh?
I'm not disputing that, you know, get more for our dollar by getting the larger version than the shorter version, but I'd like to see if it's possible to get something smaller and maybe even half the price. I mean, you know, you know, 72 inches short, you know, bigger is better. You know, it's like getting 33% more in your shampoo or something like that. But, I mean, it's just a table for, you know, it's
I maintain that it should match. That's,
Oh,
I'm,
right.
I'm,
No,
I'm
it
not,
should match,
I'm
but-
coming back to that, you know?
But even something like this that was, you know, 8 inches short, you know, or 12 inches shorter, I mean, that's the right width, right? I mean, you know, if they could modify, I mean, look at the construction on these, all it is it's, you know, they're pre-built metal rods. This is the only thing that's custom cut.
Right.
And
Yeah.
everything else
And
just latches
that's
on.
all
I
we
mean,
need.
it's
I mean, there's no shelving under it, it's just the table. Yeah.
it just seems like you're talking $2,000 for which is just to put something on that we're, really, the table is 66% of the cost of the item being put on top of it. I mean, well, half the price, sorry. I thought, yeah, this wasn't.
I don't know how to get around it though, I mean, if you want it to match, right?
But-
I'm with you, it's a lot of money, I'm with you there, but you want it to look.
If we thought the scanner was a big decision.
What's that?
If we thought the scanner was a big decision.
Yeah.
Was there anything in that we own right now that we could use to put on it that would match? That's in-house. That's
Not
that would
really.
move.
Yeah. Unless like just not really.
It's probably possible.
That meets all the specifications of.
Their things. So they'd be-
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah.
like where we put the
The
mask.
map display table. That's 43 and option
But it's not using
This is
Moved down. Now that's
Well-
solid. That's a.
right. No,
This thing can't be. The top can't be moved down because that's one solid piece of.
One thing that I asked at the very beginning, thinking it would be less expensive, was instead of matching the cherry furniture, match the computer carols.
Oh, yeah.
But again, this weird little space is just not ideal to install something. It's going to look awkward with that corner.
And plus you want it over there next to the main desk, right?
Well, we wanted it here at first, but
Yeah,
it's
but
just
your
not big
other
enough.
librarian was saying have it as close as possible. So I think you should.
Yeah.
Pam, can we get like half of this?
Yeah, this is.
No, I mean, if they have all these pieces in order
So
to
you're
make
saying
this.
just aesthetically, instead of having the arch, just have half the arch?
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know.
All right, where are we going with this?
I don't know.
What do you guys think? Sounds like we're all over the place.
Yeah, well, I think we should give a lot of weight to the recommendation from the other librarian to have it close to the main desk, which means it should be out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but from a location perspective, that's where it should go. And then the question is, what do you put it on? And I'm with Josh. Now that I look at this stuff, it is a lot of money for what it is. But I think this stuff has to match, right?
I think
I
so.
think it would be good if it matched, right?
Would that just be able to
Tables
convert?
ready yet?
What's that?
To put out in the lobby?
Yeah.
Let's stick
Or
out a
just
little
put
bit,
it out there?
a little bit further.
Yeah.
But don't you have to run the lines to it and everything?
This is 42.
I think it would
That's way too deep. Let me show you what
You
that
can
would
just
be.
use a table like that?
be. Yeah, and just,
Do the
so this is
smaller
that one back
tables?
there.
You mean put it up here?
Yeah, just rearrange that one up here, rearrange the chairs so that this is just.
Yeah, what about that desk?
How about the table on the other
The
side?
Carol?
How far out does it stick?
Yeah, the computer, or it's not a computer desk, the little,
It's a Carol.
the Carol.
Yeah. People use it all the time.
No, I don't mean that one, I mean, let's buy another one. Would that work, or
I
no?
don't know what they cost.
Oh, it could cost 3,000?
I mean, it's still the same product line.
We're in the wrong business, I'll tell you that.
So, would everyone feel more comfortable if we went back to the vendor and said we need to see more options on smaller items? We can find out what that Carol costs,
How come we can't move it?
because people use it.
Well, if we move one of the
Although
tables, or
maybe two.
someone might use that all the
Yeah,
time too, but
I'm not a
we're about
fan
to move
of
that.
Punching furniture from somewhere else in the building.
Why not?
Because
Save
it was
$2,000.
all planned out and it's all utilized.
But, and Michael, we're not moving that away.
Yeah, it's just
We're moving
getting
it
moved.
down. If we take that and move it here and put the self-check on it, then
There's
there's no
like 20,
Carol
there's
in
like
that
30 other
corner.
chairs that they can sit in too.
Well, you can come and tell me who like to sit in the corner that they are wrong.
There is
But-
another Carol way back in this corner.
So see, they got two corners to sit. Why not use what you have instead of going out and buying more? That's my thought. If you have it,
What's
you,
the pressure on the budget?
I don't know.
How do you?
If we go with base scan, there's about $4,000 that we're not using on the budget. If we go with 3M, we're already, 7,500 was approved at town meeting, and
8,000.
I'm sorry, 8,000 was approved at town meeting,
Yeah.
and
And the
Base
machine is
scan's
like
30.
8,500
It's like double.
plus the wiring and electrical and.
And that's money that has to be used for this specific project.
Yep.
yeah.
Does that include?
And if you don't use it, what happens?
It does if we go with the base scan one, because we have the
We
money.
could ask town meeting, we could go to town meeting again and ask them to reallocate it towards something else.
But then if we get the
If we
table and
do
don't go
that,
with base scan and switch to 3M, will we be over?
We'll be over
We'll be-
budget with
we're-
the
we're-
anyway.
If we go with 3M, we're over anyway.
Okay,
Just from the
okay.
device, not
Okay.
even, yeah.
Okay.
3M was what, 11 something?
No, that was for the kiosk.
Oh.
Yeah, it was more than 8, I forget, somewhere between
Yes.
8 and 9.
Yeah, because this one was 4, right?
Yeah. So, there is another Carol, just like that.
How we decided which one?
Down, way
We
down.
decided
I don't
we're not
remember
going
that.
to 3M.
I know, I
We decided we were gonna let them do the 90-day free trial.
We're gonna let base scan do, yeah.
And then see what everyone thought.
We could possibly use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we,
But I think this is too high, you know, I think when you're walking down a hallway, you don't want this big high thing, you just want to low, you know what I mean? The one that they build, the arch will be this big, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to this big? Because you don't need it to have privacy, really.
Yeah. Let's see how much a custom one or matching table or something?
Yeah,
like
I can
that?
certainly ask what would a standard care like. I mean, I don't know if this was standard. I think, you know, between the colors and the wood and the finish and the laminate, I think they're all custom.
Yeah.
That would be in the back of the room now.
Isn't it fun to go ahead and re-out?
Yeah.
I actually kind of
It's
like
coming back to me. Let's get it out.
I kind of like the field trip aspect of it, you know?
It's always fun when we go on field trip.
I mean, they're on half of these desks, which are the ones in the back
Yeah.
corner.
Didn't have the whole lounge.
Right, but I think they're too tall. I think this privacy thing is too tall, whereas, you know, your table should end where your table ends, as opposed to up here. I think like this, it's gonna be too big an object for that space.
What else would we spend the money on? What else, how prioritizes this? That's what I'm missing, maybe.
Whatever.
If we don't spend this
Well,
money,
I prefer
It's
not
not
to.
taking money away from something else, I
Right.
think is Mark's point.
Whatever we don't spend of the 8 goes back to the town for another capital project. It might go back to the library for another capital project, but it has to be repurposed to town meeting.
But we might be able to get that back if we need it for something else later. We can always
Right.
apply for it again instead of asking for them to, then you get written up the paper and they want to increase taxes to cover the new, whatever it is that we are requesting and, you know.
well,
I mean, capital expend is a little different because it's bonded and it's paid over time.
Yeah, I mean, as long as if we don't go ahead, if something goes wrong with the scanner, which I know we'll do eventually anyway, you know, you can use the table anyway. It has a additional purpose, you know, besides just for the scanner, then it should match, yes. Library should-
well, even if you don't put a scanner on it ultimately, or you still have a nice table there to put things on. or-
Right, but it's gonna be 30-something inches wide. So,
So what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of conversation. Are you guys ready to vote on something, or do you want to see more options?
if it's, I mean, if we're in the frame of mind that it's a lot of money, but, you know, then we go ahead with whatever. If I'm the only one keeping this from happening, then, you know, I'll just abstain. I can abstain about it.
My problem in this discussion is, I agree with you, it's a lot of money, but there's no way for me to put it in context of everything else, because I don't know what else we want to spend money on and what out prioritizes it. I mean,
Okay,
so to me, at a higher level, either we just stop this discussion and we say, we want to, as a team, go and build that list of everything that we want to spend. Maybe we have it already and I just haven't absorbed it or looked at it. You know, over the next 2 years, these are all the things we want to do, and this is what it's going to cost. And by golly, we'd rather have this $4,000, spend $1,000 on this table and save this $1,000 so we can buy that light lamp over there or whatever. But without having that, to me, it's
Again,
like,
it doesn't quite work that way because this was a capital expense. This is going back 2 years to our wish list from 2 years ago. A self-check was on our wish list. We researched it at the time. We said, oh, it's going to cost $8,000. And we said, let's put in a capital request and ask town meeting to sell a bond and raise $8,000 for us to buy the self-check machine. So now, because we came across a self-check machine that only cost $4,000, we sort of can buy a $2,000 table to put it on because that money's allotted for a self-check machine. That's all we can spend it on.
yeah.
Now,
we
we're not
can
going to have to re-justify the table if we decide not to use it for the self-checkout machine or something like that.
I don't think so,
Okay.
no.
Okay, then let's just
No,
move
because we need it for this project, yeah.
We've already got the money
I wish
designated for that.
I wish the whole system was more efficient. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but, you know, to fry that fish seems to me,
With
I don't
Put
know.
it
My vote's to put the table over there, the nice sized table, what you want, put the scanner over there.
Yep,
And,
I'll
yeah.
second that. That sounds like a motion to make. Let's do it.
And I think we should, going forward, maybe we can try to put some more rigor into understanding, you know, what we're gonna spend the money on. And so
Right.
next time we have this
Right.
discussion about something, we can
And
get
later
through
in our
it quicker.
agenda
We can say,
tonight,
you know,
Yeah.
let's take the 500 from here and save it for this and, you know,
Right.
whatever.
right, later in our agenda is our updated wish list, because
Yeah.
we've, at the beginning of each
Yeah.
fiscal year, we started to do this
Yeah.
and say, you know, what would really make everybody's life easier and can we afford it?
Yeah. And if you want stuff to look nice, it's just gonna, that's what it costs. I don't know, you want it to look nice, the library looks nice, we oughta.
Yeah.
That's my vote, I don't know, I'm open, whatever.
Is there a motion?
I motion we buy a good, I don't know, we have to quote a size, a large table and put it in front of the window.
You might take contract with Tucker.
Contract with Tucker and,
Do you want to accept this?
Well, the bid needs to be modified.
Okay.
Obviously, those are not the specs. That was just a sample. That was, you know,
Okay.
to get a sense of
So
what we're
accept the
looking at.
modified version, or?
Or let's request a modified
Yeah.
version, okay, and move forward with it.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so now okay,
you
so
gotta
we have to
re-quote
decide
on
on
the
the-
larger
Just so I'm
table and the.
we're gonna move the shelving unit
Right.
down and we're gonna put a standalone table 72 inches under the window, and
Right.
I need to get another drawing from Tucker
Yeah,
and a price.
and it might,
So we can have this whole conversation again next month.
Yay!
There we go. Can we, just as long as we get the field trip again.
I don't know, you might do a little better, because anytime you rework something, that's even,
Yeah,
you don't have to cut it.
yeah, it's gonna look
If he just starts fresh,
patched together. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying, yep,
you
yep.
shouldn't, you should do okay, cost-wise, other than cutting this and fooling around with it.
Right, yeah, no, I'm all for, yeah, just move this, get something else to put there, it's just,
Put a new-
you know, we can redesignate this over there.
Mhm. Like I said, we'll have to find a home for our book bundles and our staff books, but a bookshelf, yeah, like this right here, you know, another one of those maybe.
You all set? Keep going. Nice.
There won't be anything else.
We'll just go through this as best we can.
Do we have anything else?
Which one?
No.
What do you want? Is that what you want?
Okay, so what we agreed is that Pam will ask for an updated quotation and specs from Tucker on the big table. We don't have to vote on anything tonight. So now moving back up to old business, we can talk about the Rowley Reads program and preparations for the 375th anniversary of Rowley. Now, last meeting, you said that we had got the grant money, but that it doesn't come in until October. And Pam sent out a note earlier this week, was it? I was on vacation, so I'm not exactly sure. I think the emails came out asking for everyone to read the books, the updated list, which.
Well, the first thing that happened was that Michelle and John and Amy and I had a meeting, a face-to-face meeting, and kind of talked about where we were with narrowing down our short list of books. We did knock one item off of the list, and we did sort of all agree that we're very cool to another one of the items. So again, we kind of solicited in our wider circle, staff, friends, other supporters, because there are other people who are trying to read all 7 of them before a decision is made. So we want to make sure we get input from everyone who is attempting to do that. right? Is that the background of?
Yes,
Okay.
but we did set another meeting, which is sort of like our line in the sand, that we can't really let too much more time go before we make a decision, and that meeting was
Wednesday the 28th?
Wednesday the 28th.
Wednesday, August 28th at 7 o'clock to discuss everyone's final thoughts on all of the books. And I think the consensus is at that point, if there isn't one book that's really standing head and shoulders above the rest, if there were a couple that would work, that we would try to come up with some survey, to survey patrons in the community to see if there's an overwhelming favorite amongst the town. If there isn't one particular book that's really just hands down the one that will work the best for programming.
Yeah. So who's ever at that meeting may go ahead and make a decision. If they're really divided, they may throw it out there for a survey type situation.
So, okay, what happens on the 28th? So we decide when we're gonna decide?
We're going to do like a final evaluation of the books based on all the feedback we've heard from everyone,
Okay.
and try to make a decision on which book we would use if we can't reach one. What we're finding is that there's a couple of them that would really work well. You know, we also have to take into consideration how many copies are available, how many different formats are available, things like that.
And, you know, what cool kinds of programs can we think of to go along with it? Can we get the author? Things like that.
For old business, Pam, you have a new sheet of logos in front of you.
Yes. I had one person come back and say, I hate the new ones, what happened to the old ones? But the new ones were based on our feedback of what we liked and didn't like about the first round, so. Again, people seem to like the doorway. My favorite is number 3. I think it's kind of sophisticated and stately. These all have the same font. We kind of settled on that sort of staid font as opposed to some of the more whimsical ones from before. I think 5 and 6 were kind of the front runners, followed by maybe 4, 3, and 1 and 2 didn't get too many votes. Oh, but it got 2 number 1 votes.
Who's that?
Scott is one of our pages. He went 1 and 2. Because some people just sent their favorite, other people kind of ranked them.
So 5 and 6 are the, did you say 5 and 6 are the ones that most people like?
Yeah. Actually, Amy disliked the green of number 5. Does everybody have a document in their computers?
Did you see this, Jake? Would you like us to choose one tonight, Pam? Or do you think you have enough information that one has already been chosen?
No, I think you guys need to choose one. Or you need to say, can we have another round, please? This is what we like and don't like about these options. Or we can say, you know what, we hate all of these concepts, go back to the drawing board and give us something else to work with.
I think it's one of those things that it's being, not to say it's not going to be out there for a while, but you can always go back later and change it, you know? Not that I want to change it monthly, but it's not like, boy, we really hate this, because...
Yeah.
The idea of
It's not
branding,
paint
so
on the
you
side.
recognize it immediately and say, this is the
It's not
route.
paint on the side of the library.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that I think we can choose from what we have, and then later on, if we decide, yeah, I've seen better, can we go back?
I like 6.
Go with 6.
So which is the one, what's the front runner based on all your feedback and everything?
The front runner is number 6.
I like 6 better than 5.
So,
Where's the other? It's not on the
5 is too blocked in with the,
I agree. You know, one thing that just popped into my head is the image that we're using now is that oval, and these are very square. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I think I like square better.
Well, it's gonna, doesn't matter, because when we redo the website, they can just implement the logo into the design, right?
Well, it'll be on our website, but it'll also be, you know, on our letterhead and
Okay.
on
Yeah.
No cards.
no cards.
I think 6 lends itself to different formats. I think, you know, you like 3, I like 3, but I think the block around it, you know, the frame, I think limits its use.
Sure.
So that anything would be applied to it would be seen not as a part of that document, but as its own thing. Whereas the number 6, I think, you know, if you put that on a business card or if you put that on stationery, it looks like it, you know, belongs there. So not as something you
You
have
can
to say.
throw an address underneath it or hours or something and it's
Right.
inclusive.
Yeah.
Or it could be longer, it could be shorter, it could be, so.
And you know, the other thing is the image to the left of the name was a simplification. If you remember, it was, she had shingles in there and she had a much more
Jury's eye.
We- drawing, and I thought those details are going to get lost. Simplify the door, and that's what she did. But we could certainly go back to the first door image.
I like the changes.
I like that one better than.
One thing that Amy commented was the blue where it says public library is a little faint. That could be darker. And I don't know if you want the two sets of words there to be 2 different colors. Maybe they should both be a nice navy color as opposed to the black and the light blue.
I think that the 2 colors is necessary. I think it's one, which is, because it's round. Instead of round. I don't know. To me, it should be 2 different colors. But
And
if
it's- and
it
it's-
should be a little bit darker or maybe have a border on the text on public library.
Well, I think she's also matching the color in the image, which, as we talked about last time, a lot of it's going to be a black and white photocopy, so.
You know,
Just the concern was, would that faint blue show up in a photocopy?
and on things like the website, though, we're going to want to, pretty much whatever colors we decide on for the logo, we should really incorporate those throughout the website.
So we have to like those colors a lot, yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be that light blue, that dark green, and that black, right, and that, maybe that gray accent, I'm not worried about that, but this might be a little cool. But that's fine.
Well, and again, Josh, this goes back to before you were on the board. The first thing we did in this process was look at other libraries' logos, and we did. I told her we like the cool colors, we
Right.
want the blues and
It feels
greens.
very professional.
Yeah.
So I like 6, I mean, I don't know if we're voting on it tonight or if we're just gonna.
I think we should vote on it
Let's
and
vote.
move on with this thing. I motion we accept 6.
Second.
Can we make the light blue a little darker though, with that?
It's fine.
Okay.
A motion we, should I have to say it again?
So,
Motion we accept 6 with, what?
darker blue.
With darker blue?
Slightly darker, I want to be
I'm
black.
not, I can't see the thing, so I don't know. I'm trying to describe it.
Yeah, before you-
Because I think that's a good point, I think that's a good point, especially with photocopy and stuff like that.
Darker blue for what, the public library?
Yeah, public library,
All right,
just so it doesn't
Fade away.
fade away.
a motion we accept. So are we clear, do I need to restate it, or?
You move to accept number 6 with a darker blue. Michael, do you still second that?
Thank you.
With a darker blue? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the wish list. We've already started talking about.
Yes, so I've updated the wish list. Enough? You don't have to share.
Okay. Do what you need people to do.
I think you guys are gonna have to share as well.
Okay.
If you need a form.
We will have more.
Still, okay.
Yeah, we'll still
I'll
have
let you
5, but
use
no
that.
one else
I'll
can.
email it a while longer.
Thank
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you.
I can send this to you, or I can,
Yeah, if you
or you
send
can
it, I
scan
can.
that in and send it to me, and I can merge it together, whatever.
Why don't you email me, because I can read that easier than you can read this. Thank you, Marty. So these have been resorted based on the priority of the staff.
Yes, and these, under the priority, that's just the number of votes. What I did is I gave the list to the staff and I said, you know, rank your top few. So I didn't weight their votes, just a vote is a vote is a vote. So even though some people said this is my number 1 pick and this is my number 7 pick, a vote is a vote is a vote.
So these are what's important to.
Yes, so 6 people chose off of this list a cordless phone. I didn't give them a number. Some people chose 2, some people chose 7, most people chose somewhere in between.
So would the cordless phone really go with the new phone system?
I think, yeah, the new phone system. And another thing that was brought up is not so much a cordless phone, but now that we have 2 circulation stations, if someone's helping a patron at the main one where the phone is and the phone rings, your backup person can't really help the person on the phone at all because the phone is here. So we kind of need 2 phones or else a cordless phone that can hang out there. And there was there's also a phone extension in the children's office, which there isn't one now. So that's why we kind of thought, all right, well, if we're coming in and making 3 modifications to the system, why don't we just bid out a new system?
Because with the current system, if someone calls in and the staff is on the phone with them, and someone else tries to call in, they actually get a busy signal?
No, they go to a Verizon
I'm sorry,
voicemail
yeah,
box.
not a busy signal, but they go straight to voicemail. So we can
Yeah.
actually only accept 1 phone call at a time at this point.
Right. And adding another line might be a whole other thing.
So you wouldn't include that in the new phone system?
I don't know that it's, I'm saying I don't know that it's a possibility. That might involve like Verizon and Centrex and I
Okay.
don't know. Adding a line is another thing, but it could certainly be, again, in the scope of the project.
Okay. Do you have any estimates on what something like that might cost?
No. But the first reason they want the cordless phone is because when you're here by yourself, which is less often, but was the case up until July 1st, you can't go to the ladies' room, go to the stacks to help someone, you know, because then a person not just goes directly to voicemail, but rings 6 times and then goes to voicemail.
We should probably make a policy that they should never take the cordless phone into the ladies' room.
All right, well, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
So we need a lot more research on that before
Yeah.
we even know where to go.
Ditto with the copier.
Who is our phone provider currently? You said Verizon, but is there, do we go to a vendor for, like, who's it, Shore? Do we have an actual business service?
Whatever it is, we're on the Centrex account of the town.
Oh, okay.
And I think, you know, Amy and I were both really surprised that a scanner for public use was high on the list because I get asked if we have a scanner about once a year. And, you know, they're not really that intuitive to use. There would be a fair amount of training for our staff to be able to help patrons scan, find a file, name the file, email the file, et cetera, et cetera. Although there are many sort of products that are designed for public use where you have a touch screen and you say, I'm going to scan to USB and I'm going to scan to da-da-da-da, and it, you know, and those are certainly more expensive than to go to Staples and buy one off the shelf. That would be like a whole sort of system.
How many people did you ask when you say the staff? Is it
I asked everyone but the pages and the custodian. So the
So
10
that's over 10.
technicians. And
I'm just wondering, it's like, is
Actually,
it percent of people
yeah.
who were asked?
Anna didn't turn hers in, Morgan didn't, but she's only been here a week anyway, and I did not rank them. So it's really only 7.
Okay. So the cordless phone is pretty high. Nearly everyone wants one.
And I think that the new shelving solution for DVDs, I think that's part of, I think patrons want us to highlight the new ones. I think that's kind of what,
Doesn't that have slots though, the wall behind the DVDs? So couldn't you put shelves in?
I don't know what you mean.
And I'm
It's
thinking
modular, like DVD station.
yeah, over the, there's 2 or 3 pull-out drawers of
You're
DVDs.
picturing the CDs.
I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong side of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really remember exactly why I have that made it on the list or what it really is. It might be that at one time we were running out of room for the DVDs, but we just got rid of some of the VHS and made more room.
Is there anything on the list that you think is really time sensitive that you would want immediately?
No, I don't think any. This is really for information. This is, like I said, we're in a new fiscal year. We did a couple of things off the wish list last year. And so this is where we are looking forward for the future.
It would be nice to have a large screen TV in this room for our 10th anniversary party.
That's a good point. And I'm not sure if I've talked about that before in this group. I know I've talked about it because the projector and the screen, it's just a very poor picture. The room doesn't get dark enough, you lose resolution in the projecting of it. And the TVs now have all kinds of inputs. You can put in your computer, you can put in your internet, and frankly, libraries that are purchasing AV equipment now for their new buildings are not getting projectors. In fact, corporations, EBSCO is putting large screen TVs in our conference rooms instead of projectors. It's just a better solution
And much less expensive.
and less expensive than they have been.
Bulbs and everything else, and maintenance on.
The bulbs are $400, yeah.
So,
And it doesn't matter that you can't make this room dark, you could still show a movie and,
You, for a couple $1,000, you can get a 65-inch LED.
and a table to put it on.
Oh, we had to install the wall behind there, which would cost $100 or so.
So you would, I mean, the screen goes up and down, but you would lose a wall for your art. And you would have to make it really secure to the wall somehow. I'm sure there's ways to do that. So,
Yeah, they sell hardware and stuff like
yeah.
that. Okay, so this is just for our reference, you know.
I mean, yeah, I
I
can certainly get some more prices. My action item for this month is to have the staff rank them, prioritize them. So I will give myself the action item to do more research as far as prices.
And the next item on the agenda is subcommittees, which we went through last month, and everyone gave their opinions of which ones they'd like to be on. I think Janet sent out an email note to the people who weren't here at the last meeting to see if you guys had a preference. Did you, John, you're nodding, did she send that out?
She did send that to me,
Okay.
yes.
All right,
And
and I
I
know,
replied to her.
and I know Erin was also not here, so she's not here to give us her opinions, but there's, Eve isn't on the agenda, we can probably announce. But-
Yeah, Eve is moving out of state.
So
So
Eve,
she thought she would still be nearby to fill out her 1-year term, but she will not be.
so we'll need to sort of shift, I know she volunteered for several subcommittees, so we'll probably want to carry this over to the next agenda to revisit what Jake and Erin and John have submitted to Janet, and then try to see if there are any subcommittees that Eve had volunteered for that now need additional help.
If I can jump ahead to number 12, planning. Eve was on the planning committee, and that plan needs to be approved by this board at the September meeting. And it needs to be written.
She hasn't moved yet, I mean, is she?
She's got time to finish the long range plan.
At this September, 4 weeks.
Yes. it has to be turned into the Board of Library Commissioners by October 1st. So I was supposed to set up a meeting over the summer for this committee, and I did not do that.
Well, we did have our final meeting with the larger committee to go over survey results
Yeah.
and to try to identify areas that were of most interest to the people on the larger committee, but now we actually need to sit down and start typing and creating the document. So Pam, can you send an email note out to the people on that subcommittee?
Well, I'm asking, can we please have another volunteer for that subcommittee right now, because Eve is no longer on it.
And it's currently myself and Janet.
I think so.
And we need one more person.
I can help with that.
Okay.
All right, so I will send out some suggested meeting dates. And I'm traveling a little bit in September. That's okay, we'll get it done.
I wonder if we can maybe do it before the Raleigh Read meeting, or this evening. I wonder if that's probably too much to do on one night.
I will miss my other class. Not to be selfish, but
I think long range planning probably needs more than.
yeah, I don't think we
Probably
want to
the
be,
whole
I don't
night
think we want to be
anyway.
squishing it in.
Yeah.
Not that it's going to take that long. We may just be simply updating our old one.
Right.
We may be writing all new goals and objectives. So Rob, I'll send you preliminary stuff for that.
That'd be great, Tom, too.
Okay. We've already covered the new business. Now we get into the subcommittee reports. Outreach, we've talked about the preparations for the 375th and Raleigh Read. And last month we discussed doing a memorial evening or event or something, display for Brad Pyle. Pam, have you heard anything from anyone who might be able to help coordinate that?
No.
Okay, so we probably want to, the outreach committee probably needs to reach out to them. And then the children's room was working on a quote for a table.
That's in the works. A local cabinet maker is really busy right now, but is invested, wants to help with the project. I'm not sure we told him our budget, but he's looked at the space, he's gonna give us a drawing.
Okay.
I don't think I didn't think about having something built for our self-check, but I really think something this prominent can't be sort of like, I really feel like it has to be.
No, I think
Yeah.
it needs
Yeah.
to fit in. Okay. So he owes us a drawing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he's agreed to take on, to at least submit a proposal.
Okay. And the policy committee doesn't have, we did,
The policy committee was kind
behavior
of
policy.
tabled until, because we had so many other, with the website and the strategic planning, there was just too much to be trying to rework the policy manual at the same time.
and we did, yeah, we discussed the behavior policy a little bit last month and tabled that as well.
One thing that thinking back, I'm not sure we ever finalized was an incident report. Do you remember as part of the customer service policy? I don't think we ever quite finalized the incident report, so that's something to maybe bring back.
I think we were researching whether or not the town, because the town would have its own policies, and I think we were looking into see what theirs was.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where the snag was, but that never got finished.
Okay. And building and grounds. Pam, have you heard from Phil about the?
I went back and looked at the minutes. At the April meeting, Phil had a ballpark idea that we could get a plaque to go on the fieldstone that he's willing to donate. He thought it was going to be $75. He subsequently emailed to Janet this firm quote at $76 with the following inscription. The plaque still needs to be attached to the fieldstone somehow. Holes need to be drilled. I'm not sure of the physicalities of some shelf.
Is that something that
Attaching
the
it.
vendor would do, or they would just sell us?
I think they're just selling us the plaque and the screws. That's my understanding. But it was not voted on because we didn't have a firm quote.
Right,
So that's the firm quote.
that was $76. Okay.
And I can, I'll ask Richard what he would recommend as far as attaching the
I
plaque
wonder
to
if
a
we could use the
stone.
same stuff that we used to reattach the book to the.
I wonder if it just needs epoxy. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
need, I don't know.
Does anyone have any concerns about this quote?
76 sounds so, that was right along, right where it was,
Yeah.
75, 76
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it was not voted on at the April meeting when it was discussed because he'd only had a vague sense of the price, which ended up being pretty accurate, but now we know.
Does anyone want to make a motion to accept this quote and to go ahead and move forward?
I make a motion to accept this quote, move forward.
Yeah, I'll second
Yes.
that.
We can have Richard do the work.
I'll check with
Michael,
them.
second. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, good. That's a couple of years. And I think we tabled disaster recovery. Aaron is on that subcommittee, and Jake, I think you're still on it. We're working on getting some more people on that. The subcommittee report of performance and compensation committee is that we had to reschedule a meeting that we had planned, and so that meeting still needs to happen in the near future. I'm very working on rescheduling that, the
Which one? Okay.
performance and
Yes,
compensation,
yes,
so
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
hopefully by next month we'll have
Yeah.
more information on that.
Yep.
There was no Friends meeting this month. And review the action items. Pam is, I think they're all in
Well, Josh is going to find out whether brushing versus painting has any strong arguments either way. We still need to have a meeting to pass the keys. And then I'm going to research costs on the wish list, have Tucker give us some more concrete drawing to the dimensions. Schedule a strategic planning meeting, including sending Mark the preliminary items to review. And ask Richard how he would install a plaque on a field stone if it can be done.
Okay, if no one has anything else that they needed to bring up, does someone want to make a motion to adjourn at 9:36?
That's the motion?
Second,
I can second.
John, I heard you first. All those in favor?
Aye.